Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, River City Media brings you Draft Week. That's right, baby. It's Draft Week, where all these fools are going to go down. To me, QB1, it's Draft Week. Robbie Davis can shake his head all he wants. I owe him something from last year. That's all I got to say. Draft Week, baby. Draft Week. Down below me, going to him first. For the first time ever, the coldest meta is here at Show Started. Rods, welcome in, buddy. This is what it looks like.
Did you go to me because I'm the defending champion? Is that why you went to me in fantasy football? Or
right now, first loser. That's Over fair. To the right, he ain't never won, I don't think. Probably never will win. He's got good haircut, and he looks like Sean McVay. His name is Brandon James.
I have won, Randall. You're the only one that hasn't won.
Don't count 1914.
Okay.
Princeton won a national championship in 1912, too.
Yeah. No, I there like 3-4 years ago. So, no, welcome, guys. Like the lineup tonight. I think we're going to have a good show.
He's up here. He's from Michigan, and he don't have sleeves. His name is Tom Sloan, and in a few weeks he'll be loving sleeves because Michigan will be cold by September. Welcome in the worm, Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, it usually goes from the middle of summer to snow within 2 weeks up here. So, yeah, I say we got about 2 or 3 more weeks of no sleeves. And I'm not part of the draft, maybe next year. So,
well, you never know who might not show up because from year to year, somebody can.
You just got to do it in person. So you got to get you a flight down to Tennessee.
He knows too much. Yeah. We can't have him.
I have quite the Saturday planned.
That's we'll be at Ford Field for Ken Chesney on Saturday. So maybe next year.
Over here, he is the most dangerous attorney in the greater Chattanooga area, the fantasies guru, the guru of no RB1, last place every year, but he claims he's going to win. Yesterday, it's Robbie Davis. Welcome, Robbie.
Hey, yeah, well, I won our inaugural year, and so I haven't won since then, so it's been a kind of a struggle. But, hey, I'm glad we're doing this on Thursday tonight. It makes the week both seem longer and shorter now. So only got one more work day left. I'm getting an MRI on the shoulder tomorrow, and then I'll be back to beating Brandon in golf here shortly.
Wow. Brandon, you got anything to say about that?
Yeah. Your golf game's about as good as your fantasy team. So.
Dang, that's not good.
All right, guys. For the first time ever, live callers are welcome to Reckless Speculation. Now, if you call and we're in the middle of a subject, you may go on hold, but we'll bring you in. The number scrolling below to call and speak with me. Now, here is the rules if you want to call in. Keep your language PG-13. And number 2, keep your language PG-13. That's it.
And be ready to bring it. Don't come with any weak calls.
Bring back.
That's just a warning for Clipper Clay. Mm-hmm. Don't call with your little hum nonsense.
Do we have a screener and or a delay? Because knowing the people we know,
I
can assure you we don't have a screener.
I'm sure we don't have a screener.
Hey, he's sitting there under QB1 right now.
Yeah.
That is our screener.
After 16 months of B word, I think I know when cussing is coming at some point. All right, guys. I'm very excited about tonight's show. To start my championship run. I sound like Robbie, don't I? All right.
You do. Rob Randall.
First subject. I'm kind of torn about first subject, but I think we'll deal with some breaking news when we get down a little bit. So let's keep our order just the same so Robbie doesn't have to change his notes. First subject tonight, and a big one to me. Deshaun Watson in the NFL as I understand, reaching agreement. Robbie, what's the correct word that they
settlement agreement? The Players Association and the NFL reach a settlement agreement, which is big, and I'll explain later.
Was there an arbitrator?
No. Let's get 11 games, $5 million, and he'll be able to play at Texas, at Houston, first game. And Raj, I'm going to go straight to you to get us live tonight. What do you make of this situation? And then to Robbie.
In terms of the NFL, it's an unprecedented discipline, 11 games and $5 million. I was actually researching as we speak. Is that $5 million going towards survivors of domestic violence? And if so, then $5 million is kind of a joke. I don't know. I can't recall. Robbie could probably explain where the money when fines go, probably directly into Goodell's pocket. But if it is it's kind of if it is to domestic violence survivors, and this dude just got paid $230 million, and 24 women swore under oath that improprieties and/or sexual assault occurred, then $5 million isn't much. I'm not sure what the fine is for, and I guess it's a better look for the NFL. In my opinion, it's not. I mean, again, if Trevor Bauer got 2 years with one individual and the charges were dropped, then this going from 3 or 4, whatever it was, to 11 or 6, I can't recall.
6 games to, yeah.
I mean, it's a PR move, in my opinion. It's still not enough. What's really repugnant are the Browns. Jimmy and Dee Haslam, his agent, David Mulgeta, and their GM, he deserves second chances. Why? Because he's a star quarterback, of course. Just consistently, I don't want to say enabling, because you would like to think whatever behavior allegedly happens in the past, but there's just no element of contrition whatsoever. And I just wonder what was discussed, because they deny everything that occurred, yet 24 individuals testified. The NFL felt they had enough to go from 6 to 11. It just still stinks, in my opinion. It really does.
All right, Robbie Davis, explain the significance of the settlement.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, you don't go against the NFL. The NFL won this thing, and it may not seem like it from a first glance, but look, the NFL wanted a year. They didn't get a year, but what they avoided was, so what would have, and we've talked about this, what would have happened is whatever the arbitrator found, it was going to get sued. They were going to sue in federal court. And Watson would have been playing while the NFL ultimately was always going to win. Like, they were always going to win. But if the arbitrator made a ruling, there's going to be a suit filed in federal court in a Browns friendly venue. He's going to play while this goes on. This is the conversation. Now, conversation's dead. The Browns aren't going to make the playoffs. They're all the primetime games. He's not going to be involved. And Raj, to your question, so $5 million from Watson plus the $2 million from the Texans. So that's $7 million going to victims of sexual assault, domestic violence. So a chance to do good. It's never enough for this billion dollar corporation, but look, they won, and 11 games is a weird number, and that's the thing that kind of doesn't make sense to me. It would make sense to be 12 or 10. He's coming back at Texans, so I don't know if the NFL that's not by accident. I don't know which way of the pendulum that swings on, but that's not by accident. But by far, the NFL won by the PA agreeing to this settlement, no appeal, no lawsuit. Deshaun Watson, that conversation is done. And then once the games start, man, it's you know how it is. It's just football once the games start. NFL, huge winner in this.
Hey, Robbie, who's his attorney who has done a great job but said some despicable
Rusty
things?
Harden.
Where's he from?
He from Houston. He's Roger Clemens' famous attorney.
But what high school did he go to?
Oh, he went to Baylor, yeah.
Chattanooga,
All right.
Tennessee. He said some deplorable things, though, man.
Let's
He's a
get
good
past
attorney.
I'm the second most famous attorney from Baylor.
Second
Okay,
most.
A famous.
All right, Shane, I'm going to come to you and Tom next, but let's talk. Robbie and Rod's made a great legal points. Let's talk about fans now. You are a fan who is going to see Deshaun Watson play. Go from there, and a dad of a father. I mean, dad of a daughter.
Yeah, he shouldn't see the field. I mean, at all this year. And I like the initial punishment is indefinite. It's not enough. And again, you know, this is somewhat of a compromise on both parties, like Robbie was saying. And it does appear the NFL won. At least they tried to fight back. Now, whether that was a PR move or they were really upset about the 6 games, because everybody was pissed about the 6 games. I mean, it was a laughing matter. I mean, it wasn't even close to a punishment, in my opinion. And to get to 11, yeah, it feels like it's better, like Raj said, but it's not. I mean, it's not enough. I mean, this dude shouldn't see the field ever again, in my opinion. But you know, at least a full year. I mean, look at your boy for gambling, Ridley. You know, I mean, $1,500 cost him a year. I mean, this is what are we weighing these suspensions on? Like, you know, I just don't get that outline of it. You know, maybe I didn't get the syllabus, but whatever. Yeah, I'm pissed, but it is what it is. I'm tired of giving the guy credit and talking about him all the time, so I'm about done with it.
All right, Tom, is there any one of the national shows were like, yeah, it's 11 game, but the guy's already missed 17 games. It's a 28 game fine. I mean, he said. I see no relevance into that because he got paid. So as a fan, I think what the NFL did was avoid the ultimate black eye. Like, no, we didn't just give in to the arbitrator's fine, or we went back and we stayed after it. Did the NFL play PR a little bit?
I mean, to me, I think they met in the middle. There's no question that they were fielding a lot of phone calls from women's groups and things of that nature over the 6 game span suspension. So I really think they weighed their options here, ultimately wanting a full year suspension. But I mean, the NFL is gonna come out looking like, you know, hey, we did the best we could. Does that make them look good? I don't know. Especially like when you talk about Calvin Ridley. To me, I just think the NFL maybe gave in. Yeah, Deshaun Watson didn't play last year, but he got paid. He was on the roster. So that really isn't much of a punishment. So I think they met somewhere in the middle. They met in a place where they felt like, okay, yeah, this is, you know, good enough. In my opinion, I don't think it set the right example. I don't know if the message has been sent that they won't tolerate it. So that'll be interesting to see. And as far as 11 games, I don't think there's any coincidence at all that he comes back week 13 against the Texans, because when you're talking the NFL, you're talking money and you're talking a ratings bonanza. on a game like that. So that to me, I look at more of the NFL suggesting that, let's do 11. That way you come back against Houston and we can have that storyline all week long just to pump up the ratings, as if the NFL needs any help. But Goodell's he's an attention whore, and I think this was his way to kind of control the narrative in regard. So.
All right, man. I think you're very on the point. We got 5 minutes. Anybody else got follow-up, starting with Robbie Davis?
Always something else to say. Just to clarify, and I've seen this a lot on Twitter and stuff, the Ridley comparison to this. The Ridley punishment was done before this new collective bargaining agreement. So that was when Goodell had exclusive jurisdiction over punishment. So what he did to Ridley, I think he wanted to do to Deshaun Watson. He just didn't have that power anymore. And so there's no doubt. Say what you want about Goodell. I'm not a Goodell fan either. He wanted blood with Watson. He was not happy with 6 games, but that's just not how it works anymore.
What's it say about the NFLPA? You would think that something like this may be sort of outside the element of representation and et cetera, et cetera.
I was going to say
he wasn't convicted. That's what they're going to, they're going to lean on that.
Grand jury didn't indict 2 times. And so,
well, wasn't there something in that bargaining agreement with Goodell still like the end all be all? Like if he didn't see fit, like he can step in and make that decision himself?
Yes. So the retired judge that ruled 6 games, when the NFL appealed, Goodell could have been, he has the sole discretion to say, I will hear it, or I will put a third party to hear it. And in this case, he put a third party to hear it. And my guess is there was probably some back channeling.
It's just a martyr.
There was probably some back channeling that allegedly that
right.
Deshaun Watson wasn't going to get a year, and it wasn't what the NFL was going to want. So they wanted more than 10 games. And so that's where the negotiations came from, was, hey, you're independent.
I know. I'm just saying, though,
we're paying your fee.
Relative to the Ridley thing, if he really wanted to and pull strings, he could have made that happen. I'm just saying. He has the power to do that. So
yes, and that's a very good point. If Goodell was steadfast, this is what I'm doing, he would have done it.
It's a dog and pony show. I mean, he puts this, committee together or whatever, third party judge, all this stuff, and then it's like he's still God anyway. If he doesn't really like the outcome, it's like, well, let's just take a time out. Let me come in and look at this, and then he'll send some other goon to do
very much to what
him.
I'm designing in our fantasy football world. Goodell's kind of my hero.
I got a question from the internet.
You've always admired him.
What is the point of the third party if it's challenged to appease the NFLPA? From Rich, who, by the way, in and told me to tell a certain member of the cast to put some sleeves on, but I just wasn't going to bring up any name.
They fell off. Give them a break.
Question: who's got that?
Those are the new breakaway jerseys.
The third party is to essentially take it out of Goodell's desk, like just so he's not the dictator of the NFL.
Well, it appears to everyone else in the world that there's some kind of committee and a board, and they make the rulings, and Goodell has nothing to do with it. But like I just said, Goodell has everything to do with it, and he makes the final decision, whatever he wants.
Yeah, this is all a fallout of the Ray Rice decision. Whenever Ray Rice got 2 games, and then it was sponsors pulling out, and then the owners were like, "What are you doing, Roger?" And then he's like, "Oh, I'm not good at this." And then it's like, "Oh, I'll outsource it, and then I'll still oversee it. If something goes wrong, I can correct it, but it's all on them."
Yeah.
All right, Raj Mehta, you are an NFL historian. You are a sports historian. You are the guy that always brings the facts and the figures to the show. How big will this case loom in the future of the NFL?
Wow. Well, in terms of humanity, you hope not much, in the sense that nothing else will compare, that people will understand the consequences. And consequences, I mean, again, towards humanity, not just when it comes to self-discipline. And that's a wonderful question, and it's one of the few times I'm speechless. It does set an interesting bar, and like everyone here basically attested toward, that it's more or less strategic, that there are 11 games, that there are still 5 remaining, that in a sense, I don't want to say it's win-win from a marketing aspect, but it more or less is. I'm hesitant to say, what do you have to do worse to get more of a suspension? But I think Robbie, and my question was sort of rhetorical in that sense, that the NFLPA is going to use this as a benchmark. And I hate to put it this way, but you have to, quote, do worse, whatever that means, to, as you said, the bar was set in order to get something more aggressive. And so in that sense, it's fairly tragic. If somebody has a similar situation, but the NFL characterizes it as only 20, when, you know what I mean? It becomes immeasurable, and it's not something that should be tangible. Sorry, it was just, I'm sort of being circular here, but it literally leaves me speechless. It's a wonderful question, and I don't have a good answer. I really don't.
Well, it's rare that I get one up past one of you guys, because this is the smartest panel in sports, to be honest with you. Wrapping up a little bit on that subject. Anybody got a final word?
Well, I'm looking at down the road, come week 13. How do the Browns look? Hypothetically, what if they're playing good football? What if Jacoby Brissett is got them sitting at like 8-3 or something to that effect, and then Watson comes back? Do you take Brissett out? For Watson, who hasn't played football in, let's face it, 2.5 years. I think that's going to create a bigger issue for Cleveland going into that, if they are in that situation. And you know what? They very now might be there, because they've got a really strong roster. So I think it's bigger than just this suspension when it comes to the Browns. They're going to have to find a way to tamp the situation, because there's going to be one side that says, hey, he needs to play, and then there's going to be the others that say Brissett's earned the starting role. And so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out as far as the Browns are concerned.
And Randall, I'll be less than 60 seconds on this, but why this is unique and why this is not necessarily precedent to the NFL is because generally when players screw up, there's a criminal element to it, and they are either convicted in the criminal justice system or they have a Fifth Amendment right. In this case, he was no bill by the grand jury, and it's all civil lawsuit. So he had to go under deposition testimony so many times, and it would be so difficult for the NFL this would be in the news, so every deposition over and over and over again. So bad news. They had to get rid of this.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Very good.
The guy from the Raiders, the poor kid that got drunk and killed that lady, it was in and out of the news. It was tragic, but it's gone. This is lagged on way, even though that was a much worse event because people died.
Yeah.
It was in and out of the news.
All right, let's move on. I'll wrap this up, but we need to get on to some stuff. And Robbie, I'm going to let you take the lead here. There was a meeting this week among a few of the NCAA presidents, and I'm going to let your very good take on what this could mean for the future of the NCAA. Let's start there, and then I'll come back with a round of questions.
This is the beginning of death by 1,000 cuts. This is these university presidents, chancellors, they're putting together what we've been saying for a year and a half now. The NCAA is nothing. They have no power. Why are we letting them regulate anything we do? And so this is the first meeting of the minds of what the future looks like. And it's really bad news for the NCAA. And the question becomes now, all right, your copyright attorneys, you're like, how do you hold on to that NCAA tournament? Because that's all you have right now. And that's your $1 billion prize. If they can take that away from you, which I'm not an intellectual property attorney, I don't know. I'm sure it's not going to be that difficult to just copycat something like that. It may not be called the NCAA tournament, but it's going to be something. And once that goes, the rug is gone, and you are free fall, and you're dead.
That's an excellent point. Now, Robbie, I'm gonna throw a couple out around the panel. We're gonna start. We'll go to Shane, then Raj, and then over to Tony or Tom, and then back to Robbie. Tony, I don't know who you are, and anybody.
Tony's the guy that doesn't wear sleeves.
Tony. How
Tony,
you doing, Tony?
Hey,
if anybody wants to be on the show tonight, you can call 269-366-9648. Speaks live to the River City Media guys. All right, we're going to start with Shane here. Brandon, Robbie made the point about the NCAA tournament. I talked to let me make sure I say this the correct way, a mid-level employee at a major university who said, what if they just leave them with the NCAA and they become the governing agency over everything but football? They also proposed, what if they stay the governing agency over everything but Power 5 football? So you still have the NCAA Division I, Division II, NCAA, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or does the NCAA die altogether at every level?
I don't think it does yet. This is still in infant stages, although we've been foreshadowing this for quite some time. This is chess, not checkers, and I think they're still trying to be respectful to the NCAA at this point. There's a lot of negotiations, and they're trying to save face and saying, well, maybe just the big conferences, or, I've heard it couple different ways. So I think the power lies, with these big conferences. Look at the deal, which we're going to segue into here after this. The Big Ten just signed, $1 billion a year. What does that have to do with the NCAA? Nothing. And they can take their ball and go wherever they want to. I don't think they'll fizzle out completely. I think they'll hold on for a while. This is just my opinion, obviously, but I think they'll keep basketball for sure, for a while. But like Robbie said, if they screw up one time or don't, judgments don't start going certain ways, or they investigate, or I don't know, whatever pokes the bear, they could easily pick their ball up and go too. So the NCAA has not held power for a long time. They've been quite a powerless governor for quite some time, and it's this is a means to an end, and it's this is the start of the free fall.
Well, let's just make sure whoever's watching.
Someone always has a ringtone turned on.
Debbie does. Dallas gets it turned down. Are you finished, Brandon? Because I'm going to go.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Raj, we're going to talk about your conference in just a minute and the schools in California. Does the NCAA stay in position? USC or Ohio State or Florida State or Alabama, or they finally make the wrong school and the wrong group of schools together upset?
I lost. Was that for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did somebody else take it? Because I lost volume for a second.
So let me just
go ahead.
Let me just repeat it, because
Okay.
I think it's legal. As a California fan at USC, UCLA, moving to the Big Ten, can the NCAA stay in power until they make the wrong school or group of schools upset? And then that group of schools, USC and Ohio State, a small group of them can say, the NCAA is dead. Come on, let's go over here.
I don't see why not. There's nothing in place, and Robbie would probably be better to attest to this. But, today the parallel being UCLA is part of the UC system, the UC Regents, who are the devil. And in 1991, there was it's sort of a state versus federal issue where the Regents Board said that university presidents have the ability to negotiate their own contracts, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just sort of left open-ended. Now they're basically arguing that, this is a slippery slope, that UCLA can't do this, that it's putting the health of kids at risk. And really it's all about money. And that's my overall sort of motif here. And I know we're going to discuss. And in the end, sure, there's nothing that the NCAA as a private organization can do to prevent that, as far as I know. I think it's just something that was entirely unanticipated. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. So I would believe that's the next step. And I think that's where your question was going. But again, this is something that gives Robert more of a male stimulation than me. Like, he loves this stuff, and it's kind of the reason why I left law. But yes, please expand upon your reason for stimulation.
All right. I want to go to Tom before we go to Robbie, because I'm kind of building a case here to throw in the attorney's lap.
Sorry,
Tom. You are the everyman sports guy, in my opinion. You're the guy that you look at competition across all levels of sports. You are a sports purist. What value does the NCAA have now in 2022?
I don't think they have much value. When you really look, at the bottom line, they've done everything in their power against the student athlete. When it comes down to certain kids being allowed to transfer and others not, I just think they've made a lot of mistakes, and really it could be a little arrogance that they felt like they were higher than thou, when the reality is, the schools have the power, and now these conferences coming into play that are loading up, saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, and if you don't like it, you know what, you can hit the bricks. So I just think the NCAA as a whole has been a huge disappointment, and they've never really cared about the kids. And now you're seeing where a lot of the schools are, they're realizing it now, and even more so now that these student athletes have more control than ever. So yeah, I mean, as a whole, they've failed everybody, and now they're paying the consequences.
All right. We got about 10 minutes. We'll open mic it. Go to Robbie to stop the open mic, and then just free out. We got time to breathe this one out. Robbie, make that. I think we've kind of built you a case here for the death of the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm EA Sports, and I'm showcasing my college football next year, there's no way in heck I'm putting NCAA 24 on that logo. There's no way. No, it is college football 24. Look, this was just self-destruction. Yeah. It was the arrogance. Look, if you go to a trial court and you lose, and you go to a court of appeals and you lose, and it's unanimous or almost unanimous, the last thing you do is appeal that to the Supreme Court, but you settle that lawsuit because it's bad for you. And then when you go up to the United States Supreme Court and you get beat 9-0 in today's world, that means all of those 9 justices says, yes, you are violating antitrust laws. And so it was just, it's just a beat down. And then it's all self-destructive and arrogance. And so, yeah, look, we've been joking on it for years. Like, yeah, if they come, well, not if they come, as they come to Tennessee and investigate. just say no. Like, our doors are closed, and that's just that's what UNC did. That's what Kansas has done. That's what Arizona did. That's what LSU did. Like, no, like, just sorry. Like, you're not coming in here. And they have no power. They have nothing. And it's just, it's all self-destructive. A bunch of old white guys that got a lot of money for a long time are now their terms coming to an end. And that's okay. They've all gotten rich, and the world's better off without the NCAA, honestly. It's going to be, and we've talked about this, it's going to be the Big Ten and the SEC. They're going to make their competitive rules together, and they're going to compete, and that's what high-level college sports is going to be like. And then there'll be secondary, third tier levels, but that, like, it's not speculation anymore. This is what's happening.
Yeah, the NCAA reminds me of like a bad management group that you hired to run your apartment complex. Like, they think they have all the power and they try to make these rules, but really, they can get fired at any point. And that's kind of what you're seeing at this point. I think people are tired of the BS that they keep throwing out. So
sounds like the PGA.
Hey, that's a whole other topic.
Have they even announced a replacement for Mark Emmert?
No.
Or do they just know it's going to be dead?
No, there's no replacement announced. Go ahead, Tom. You look like you got something to say on this subject.
Well, I mean, as regards to, the NIL in these super conferences, it's the time is now. It's put up or shut up, and these teams or these schools, they know that they have to be in charge because they're competing with other big name schools, and I think they're going to be competing with other schools that they never planned on. So yeah, the schools are realizing now that with the NIL, the money being thrown and being able to lure kids to their school, the NCAA is just, I think they're just giving them what little respect they have for them, to plead their case. But ultimately, once the super conferences, which I guess in my opinion probably within the next 2 or 3 years, take effect, it'll be the end of the road for them. So
great point, and I think you're on the money. Raj, do you want to move on to the next subject, or do you got anything on the NCAA before because the one subject kind of bleeds into the other subject, and I don't want to really change subjects as much as I want to change gears here, and I want to reach out, and Robbie will be back. He's on a little break here. First of all, you sent a text to the group as I was on the air on the other show saying that UCLA may be getting some pushback from the University of California Regents, and I talked about it with these guys beforehand, and I agree with you. I am an SEC guy, but my second conference has always been the Pac, and I've told people I had a family member play at UCLA. I'm pretty loyal to UCLA. The only sports memorabilia in my house that isn't Tennessee is UCLA and one Eli Manning poster. So, with that said,
I would have left that last part out, but it's just me.
I can put you on mute there, buddy. With that said, let's talk about the Pac, and let's talk first. I want you to break down at a high level that TV deal. And Tom and Brandon, you're both Pac-10 guys. I want to understand the deal first, Pac-10, Big Ten guys.
Mm-hmm.
I want to understand the deal first, Rod. So what is the deal with the Big Ten contract that USC and UCLA are supposed to be part of?
I'm glad Robbie's back because he believes in the NFL, and the irony being is Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner, was with the NFL for 21 years. And he said that the NFL and Goodell taught him, instead of thinking nationally, to think globally. And that's what this deal has done. What he negotiated, and he did graduate from Notre Dame Law School. Ironically enough, that NBC is one of the networks. Essentially, it was an $8 billion deal that involves CBS, and it gives them priority, actually, over the SEC or anybody else, Fox and NBC.
The SEC had already left CBS.
Yeah, that deal's dead.
That deal is dead.
I didn't realize that.
But with CBS.
Well, CBS is also, I mean, I know you guys are very loyal regionally speaking, but the reality is this conference spans the country, coast to coast, and it's going to get more eyes. Sure, the SEC has better overall quality football, but really that matters mainly to one part of the country, and that's not what television deals are about. Kevin Warren negotiated with Fox, with CBS and NBC, as I said, but it also left it open for Amazon and Apple and even Turner, should any other schools basically enter Washington and Oregon, where the major networks don't quite have the same impact, so to speak, that in terms of cost benefit, marketing and whatnot, it's not quite the same effect. Switching gears back to the Pac-12, one reason why the UC Regents threw up a fit was that it's estimated to cost each school around $10 million per year. And just in media rights alone to the conference, $13 million. These are two highly visible teams. It's also unique in the sense that Kevin Warren negotiated that it has additionally the Big Ten Network still, and FS1 and Peacock, a streaming network that is exclusive. And NBC still has Notre Dame, which is independent, which, much like USC, can negotiate what they want. They're a private institution. So it's really one of its kind. And on top of that, it's the first of its kind Saturday triple header. And that's going to be, I believe, across all three networks. And each network as well has a regional pull. Like I said, CBS at 3:30, 12:30 out west is a different game. But at 3:30, everybody knows to tune in to CBS for, a Southern game, so to speak. That's obviously not the case anymore. But to have each network and the advantages and the demographics and the view audience built in without any restrictions, to say this deal that negotiated was unprecedented is it doesn't do it justice. Kevin Warren is brilliant, and it is global, especially when you have the streaming aspect. It's one of a kind, and extremely intelligent dude, and extremely intelligent progressive conference.
All right, Tom, as a Big Ten guy, historically, the Big Ten is kind of, to me, it's the lesser of the primetime spots in a lot of situations. This TV deal really brings the Big Ten to the forefront in college football. But does this deal hurt the Big Ten in college basketball? Basically, guys, ESPN becomes the SEC network in 24 and 25. And they own the rights to primetime football. And it's almost like the SEC is trading everybody else to own ESPN. But what's the ramification to basketball?
Well, I think this is where the streaming aspect that was negotiated in, because, you look at ESPN and their basketball coverage, it's almost, nightly. There's games on. So you take the Big Ten, which is, in all reality, like the SEC in football, Big Ten basketball reigns supreme. So losing that viewership, on a nightly basis, it could, but, when you open the door for an Amazon and Apple TV, so you're giving a good chunk of the country opportunity to tune in via streaming. And then it's also going to get more people tuning into like FS1 and the Big Ten Network. So if you're going to want to watch the conference that, is the best in the country as far as basketball is concerned, it's going to force you to go to those channels. So I think, like Rob said, the deal was kind of masterful in a sense that it just kind of took ESPN out of the whole relevancy here, and just being able to balls on different networks that people probably wouldn't have normally gone to on let's say a Tuesday night. Most people are tuning into an ESPN for college basketball, but now they're going to go to Peacock or they're going to go to FS1 and the Big Ten network. So it's almost like he was saying, hey, we're going to do what we want. And there's nothing you can do about it. And the Big Ten, I think ultimately it's going to pan out for them.
ESPN is dying. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
They lost 8 million subscribers last year. They're behind the 8 ball, and Kevin Warren knew it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Brad.
No, I was say. I mean, they turned down 7 years, $380 million with the Big Ten. ESPN turned down that deal. So that I don't know what the big hang up there was. I mean, this collaboration that Kevin Warren has done, and that was one of his biggest points too, is he said, especially with the football starting out here, that he wanted people to not get confused and know, because it is streamed across different networks, nowhere to go. So, you open up with Fox, you go to CBS, and then you got primetime NBC at night. And, it's going to open up a lot of other eyes instead of just watching one ESPN channel to where, whatever conference pops on. And it's going to be interesting. But, I mean, it's what a deal that this is. I mean, it's a huge, huge ordeal. Welcome to the Big Ten, Raj.
All right.
It's awesome. Totally awesome.
Yeah. There's going to be between 80 to 100 million spread out between every school each year as well.
Dude.
So
make no mistake, this wouldn't have happened with the old regime at USC. It's super progressive. We're super excited, man.
And it wouldn't have happened with the old regime in the Big Ten either.
No. This dwarfs the old Big Ten deal, which was $430 million a year. So this is more than double. And we bring in, a couple more schools. So there's plenty to go around.
And by the way, the 2 most watched programs in college in the country in 2021, an article on the Medium, were Ohio State and Michigan, just ahead of Alabama. That's nationally, because there are other things outside of the South.
Yeah. What were the 3 to 10? What were the 3 to 10 on that list?
I don't know. I mean,
that's important.
I mean, that's like asking what were the 3 to 10.
No. I mean, if you're going to do an average,
who finished 3rd to 10th in fantasy last year?
Well, actually, I'm looking at it now. Penn State, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Notre Dame, and Oregon. So only Alabama and Georgia and Auburn were in that most watched college football programs in 2021. Number of viewers per week. So there goes your argument. Sorry.
But the most watched game last year was the national championship game, Alabama and Georgia. So know where we're getting across there. But anyway, your point taken.
It's not worth $8 billion.
Robbie, the one thing you wanted to make a point about, I'm with you, Raj, but my list has Alabama, Georgia as the most watched game. I don't know where we're off. The one thing
I'm not talking about game. I'm talking about programs nationally.
So how does Alabama not be a national brand, or Georgia or Clemson? That's what I'm bending around.
People don't care about Alabama as much as you think. And SEC, nobody's saying they don't have the best football. They do. And Alabama playing Georgia is not a good thing for the rest of the country, or LSU. Yes, we know they're great, but this is about money and eyeballs. And Alabama is, if you're talking about that, a victim of their own success, because they are so good that, when I was out west, I didn't really tune in because I knew they were going to win. It's not interesting. It's just, if it's the same game played 3 times like it was against LSU, that's not interesting. That's one game, and $8 billion deals are not negotiated upon that. So, yes, they are absolutely the best conference in football. But that's a few games. That's not money. Nobody cares.
I just go off my list, and I don't know where yours come from. Of course, the top games: Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, Cincinnati, Rose Bowl. So let's get all the bowls.
This is programs. all year, not games.
USC, North Carolina. Number
Can
10.
I talk about the TV deal? Do I get a turn?
Yes, please.
I'm
But
just
you're talking about
confused.
individual games. It's a different.
Yeah, Raj was
ratings.
talking about individual programs
watched over 12 weeks
Team,
across the
right.
globe.
Not just football, like the entire program of that school.
Okay.
Well, this is actually football.
Go ahead, Robbie. I'm still
okay.
I'm still a little confused if Georgia could be in 10 of the top 18 games and not be in the top.
Yeah, ratings are tricky. They can be twisted how you see the fit. But so my takeaway from this, look, the Big Ten struck gold. What they were able to do is to take a base that's a dwindling population and then add the second biggest market in America times 2 is fantastic. That's a great maneuver by Kevin Warren. That's great. And then $75 million per school, $1 billion a year. That's great. That's great. So the pluses, and then so the other plus I got is with NBC contract, Notre Dame, you've got to join the Big Ten. Like, I mean, if you don't, then I'm not sure what you're doing. Because now they're competing against you, and so I think that's inevitable. And so that's Warren's next chess move. The second biggest win is for until the SEC media contract's up. The Big Ten is by far raking in the most money per school for the next couple of years. That's all. And then it solidifies the Fox Big Ten partnership. Also great. You know, they're going to have their own game day. These are all good things. The negatives. Man, I am sad to see Big Ten basketball leave ESPN. I like no more Michigan State, no more Indiana, no more Ohio State. Like that's bad for the conference and for what March Madness means for just sport, not necessarily monetarily, but sports fandom. Like that's bad because the majority of people aren't going to go to Fox Sports 1 to watch a Michigan State versus Michigan Tuesday night game or Ohio State versus Indiana.
To combat that, if it's Michigan State, Michigan on a Tuesday night, that's probably going to be on NBC or CBS. And
because they have Dateline. They have it's not going to be on there, Brandon. It's not because they have news programming. It's going to be on one of the sports networks. It just is like. It sucks, like because I'm not bashing. This deal is great for the Big Ten, but this is actually bad for college basketball. That's my negative of this thing.
You know, there's no money in college basketball, but you're right. For the sports fan, it sucks.
Yeah, it's a loser. And then the other one is just there's no ESPN relationship. It's just bad. Like you can say ESPN the sinking ship or not, but it's factually not. It's still the biggest brand in sports, and so
Nike.
And then the third negative I've got is just this deal right now is going to give the SEC a lot of firepower. I'm not sure if that's negative or not, but that's just my takeaways. I was just thinking about 3 pluses, 3 cons, but overall, this is a great deal for the Big Ten. They got a boatload of money. And they've got a lot of clout. And we'll see how it progresses. Because right now, no one knows what it's going to look like in 5 years. We don't know if Amazon, Google, Apple going to get involved. But for right now, this is a great deal for the Big Ten. They did what's best for them. Because football ultimately writes the checks. And that's what the Big Ten did the best for football. I'm sad that I won't get to – not that – so I will check in on college basketball because I love it, but the average fan will not see it, and they will not see most of the Big Ten basketball.
What if Oregon goes to the SEC though? That's going to change the game. You know what I mean? Like it, in the sense that you're going to see some of those old West Coast schools, and you'll be watching ESPN.
It's just that
the SEC in a
FS1's
different
just not on your radar. Like that.
No, I
like,
agree.
You're used to college basketball. ESPN,
it became a habit. What's to say it's not going to be for other people, right? But I agree.
Yeah, what you're trying to say, Robbie, is that the average sports fan is like, oh, I want to watch some sports. Where do I go?
ESPN
I'm going to turn on ESPN.
Well, and just leave it on ESPN and let it play, and then you watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
There aren't many of us in the world, unfortunately.
I want to make the point that I didn't get what Roger was saying earlier, and now I do. So we were having a private chat, and Rod just got clarity. Give us the number that you have now, Rod, and disregard what I said earlier.
Oh no, I mean, like I said, in terms of it was an article I was reading, and I actually clicked off of it. I didn't. So this says, in terms of most watched college football programs over a 12-week span. Again, ratings are within the eye of the beholder, and like Robbie said, you can be tilted any which way. But across the globe, this says Ohio State number one at 5.22 million. And again, how the data pool, et cetera, who knows? Michigan, right behind Michigan, Bama, then Penn State, then Georgia, then Oklahoma, then Auburn, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Oregon, which is odd to me. But basically it says that two regions of the country, which have the highest quality of football, dominate globally as well, and that's the Midwest or the Big Ten and the SEC.
No. But hold on. Let me just correct. Like, I don't know what study you're looking at, but almost every college sporting event, Birmingham gets one of the top 3 rated markets, and so Birmingham is tied with ESPN. So they'll watch anything college. And so you have to realize the markets and which channel they're going with. And so that's where it gets complicated.
Yeah. There's no money there in Birmingham, right? Like CBS isn't.
No. It's the biggest audience in college sports. Like, so if you change their trajectory from watching ESPN to Fox Sports 1, there's going to be a downturn. And so look, the Big Ten did great. Like, I'm not saying the Big Ten, like the Big Ten hit a home run. I'm just saying there's pluses and minuses, and I'm sad that there's no relationship with ESPN there. That's
so people in Birmingham on their couch just have to push like a different channel button. Like if they want to watch college sports, they're going to watch it, right?
It's Birmingham. You gotta just remember.
No. I mean, honestly, if you watch, I guess y'all are used to sports on Fox Sports 1. It's just,
All right, but will they lure in some of that ESPN talent? You know, when contracts are up at ESPN, are these other networks going to say, "Hey, we got the goods, come our way"? And I think ultimately that's probably what the mentality is. Herb Street, would he ever leave ESPN? He might now. He has a relationship with the Big Ten. So, he could be the face.
Van Pelt, bro thinks getting old, dude. And so is
the SEC is going to hit. And, this is why I hate to be competitive like this. Like, it shouldn't be. But the SEC is going to sign a $10 billion contract coming up. Like, it's inevitable. And then the Big Ten is going to sign a $13 billion. And back the ping pong balls to go back and forth.
So if ESPN does that, though, they're like the last, unless Prime or some of these other streaming networks come in, they're the last guys left. Does the SEC really hold the cards here? I don't know. I think ESPN
they have to expand.
They've got to look outside of ESPN.
The ESPN package.
Yes. All they have left is the SEC and the ACC. And the ACC is on their free fall down as soon as their TV rights are up or whatever. And I just don't. I mean, they've got to start looking at Amazon and Apple and legit streaming options.
Other options,
after this big deal here.
BYU, Oregon, they have to think.
Notre Dame's gonna go. Notre Dame's gonna be in the Big Ten. They've got that relationship with NBC already.
So
it's inevitable.
The billion-dollar
which they do.
I think that was a foreshadowing kind of deal as well. So,
all right, I want to finish this subject up with one question. And we realize this, and let's get back to the point. I think it was the Braves beat the Mets 3-2. Thank God we're 3 games from first. Let's go, baby. The one thing about ESPN is under that umbrella, you have Disney, you have ABC, you have so many resources. Under the Big Ten packages, you have a lot of separate resources. So is it that the Big Ten has multiple business partners and the SEC says you are the biggest business partner out there and we sign with you? Is it just difference in philosophy or difference in management at top? So, Brandon, just quick, I just want to get
no, you bring up a good point there. I completely forgot about the whole Disney aspect of it. That's a big time player, and they now own ESPN. So, yeah, I mean, they could sustain it, but ESPN is definitely been taking some blows lately, and
correct. I agree.
No, that's not true.
It's got to be, Raj. It's got to be something new from that corporate conglomerate of Disney, ABC, ESPN, the SEC network, and all these partners. It's got to be something new to equal what the big.
But Disney's not stupid. I work for a unnamed Forbes top 10, and they know that if something's not making them money, they cut bait. Certain departments, avenues, and Disney doesn't need ESPN or even ABC in that sense. And if it costs too much and there's not enough return, they're just going to let them die on their own, which is kind of what's happening. I'm not saying that this won't be resurgent. Like I said, the SEC is very smart. I think they need to go Notre Dame, BYU, throw more money at them in Oregon and expand their brand. But just to say that they have the backing of ABC and Disney, it's not a lifeline. In the contrary, in my opinion, it's something that Disney's going to cut bait. It doesn't make them any money. You're the one that says that. Trust me, it does not make them enough money. Then why are they going to reinvest in that?
All right. Before we go, Robbie, I'm going to let you have final word on it, but I want to talk to Tom just a second. Tom,
Robbie's struggling.
Big Ten basketball going to get lost in the mix?
I don't believe so. I think the talent level and the fact that they are the SEC of basketball, I think that is going to make people go to these other networks. I mean, if somebody wants to watch a Michigan State on a Tuesday, they're going to find out where to go to watch it.
Exactly.
And the way that a lot of these cable companies are, everything's going by the way of streaming. It doesn't matter. They're going to find it. I see where Robbie's coming from. They were kind of like, the first ones to do it. They were the kings of the castle. But I think now they're going to play catch up. Because in all reality, if Michigan State's sitting at 1 or Michigan's sitting at 1 or in the top 10, that's must-see TV. And I do believe a basketball fan will find it. And if most of those services or most of those, FS1 or Big Ten, I mean, as far where I'm at, I mean, I'm not sure down there, but, those are basic parts of programming. So I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. Now, to Robbie's point, I think you're not going to get the casual sports fan who's looking to watch sports and turns it on ESPN. True. And I think that's where he's coming from. And that, that's how you pick up some kind of future prospects, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you'll miss out on that and some good games that could potentially be a long-time basketball fan. So, I completely understand that point.
Yeah.
Great discussion.
ESPN was the first for streaming with Disney. Now, that's their avenue. But Robbie's like just chomping at the bit. Sorry, Randall has a game plan. He's way smarter than I am at this. So
No, I'm going to let Robbie because he's thinking, and then we've got to move on to our last segment. So, Robbie.
Yeah, Tom says, if it's a 1 versus 2 matchup, people are going to watch. But if people don't know that, they can't watch. And so that's the problem. Like, I can't express this enough. Gary Bettman, a Power 4 or 5 sports, said when they signed the contract with ESPN, if they do half as good a job at promoting us as they did as eliminating us, we will increase our revenue tenfold. Look, like, I know you guys have ambition and like there's hope. And I think it's going to be fine, but do not discount the power ESPN has. Like that, like I'm not an ESPN.
I know, but
like,
to your point, do you think if there's a major basketball game in conference that they're not, even though they don't have a TV rights deal, they're not going to talk about
100%,
it?
yes, 100%. Don't, I think it will not promote it.
If you want to watch college basketball, you're going to find it.
I think you're 100% wrong.
Hey, Brandon, how many
Big
Big East games have you remembered them promoting?
I mean, I'm not a
how many
basketball
Pac-12 games do you remember them promoting? Look, they just don't do it. Like how many NASCAR races, how many NHL games, how many Predators games before NHL to contract with ESPN? They don't promote what they don't have contracts with. They just don't.
I know, but if you got a 1 versus 2 in a basketball matchup, I mean, it's getting promoted.
I may be wrong.
I guarantee it. I mean, they're the mecca of sports channels. Like, why would they not talk about the biggest sports matchup like that day?
Oh, well, why would Fox? Why would the Fox Game Day talk about SEC Network? Because they don't have contracts with them. Like, look, it's business.
Things change.
All right, let's wrap her up, boys. Let's move her on. Great discussion. I'm glad I got
Good
out
conversation.
That one's a great, and it's not the last time we'll have that discussion, because that will become a discussion in the near
Big
future.
Ten SEC gonna be a rivalry.
Yes.
Always is.
I hate that it's gone a rivalry. They should be working together. It's a TV partnership, but that's my own 2 cents.
Well, I mean, we're going to get back there. It's just a little roundabout.
Let's bring it on.
10-year contracts are problems.
I want to talk some NFL football, and we've got about 20 minutes to do that. And I want to talk about first the worst division in the NFL outside of the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think it's the worst group of quarterbacks outside of Tom Brady to ever be assembled in the NFL. And we found out today that Baker Mayfield will be starting for the Carolina Panthers.
Duh.
That gives you Baker Mayfield, Marcus Mariota, and Jameis Winston as the starters in that division outside of the GOAT Tom Brady. And, hey, the backups ain't much better. So let's talk about the NFC South and what expectations can be. And I'm an NFC South guy. And I really think it's three. I think there's a clear mark in these talk college football, these teams. The Bucks are win now. And as long as Brady's there, they're going to be win now. They're going to max their contracts out. And they are a serious Super Bowl contender. I think the Panthers have a situation where their coach is in a win now situation. And he must win, and he will pull any string that he has to win now. The Falcons with a second-year coach in Arthur Smith, and the Saints with a first-year coach with Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston. Hey, we might see somebody lose 13 or 14 football games this year. Don't know it, but I would expect it. And, hey, I'll take C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young next year in the draft. So, let's start with the NFC East. And, guys, outside of Tampa, there's not much there. Brandon Shane, what do you see in the NFC South? It's trash.
It is. It is. it's tough to muck through, to be honest. Outside of, I mean, the Bucs. I definitely don't think they got worse. Better might be a stretch. I do like the signing of Julio and Kyle Rudolph.
And Russell, the Falcons' best receiver, goes to two.
Yeah, so I mean they've put some other pieces in play, and Tom Brady, he's the GOAT, and this guy just makes everybody around him better. I mean, he'll literally throw you open, and these guys are proven veterans of being a receiver, and Kyle Rudolph, quite a good tight end in his day back in Minnesota. So I don't see, outside of Brady getting injured, it doesn't matter who they put out there. This division is clearly theirs to lose. I struggle between the Panthers and the Saints for the second place here. I'm going to have to go Saints. I think they've got I like Michael Thomas. I like Olave, obviously a couple of Ohio State guys.
Wide receiver. Alvin Kamara, let's make the point. Alvin Kamara is doing the Ezekiel Elliott. He's fighting his suspension. He will start the year eligible more than likely. But somewhere down here, there could be a shot of him getting fixed.
Exactly.
He's suspended for what?
He was arrested in Las Vegas for assault.
Yeah.
Domestic.
Notes for fantasy draft.
Yeah.
No, if you were.
This is why you're terrible. Why did you tell him that, Randall?
Yeah. Exactly why you.
Anyway. Yeah. So.
And you don't.
All right. Now I'm winning a championship.
I do like the Saints slight nod above the Panthers. Just to, I tell you what though, Mayfield is going to make DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson both better than what they've been in the past few years as wide receivers, fantasy wise. Now, will this create wins? I mean, what's the ceiling on Baker Mayfield? It's not so high. So
you can quit bouncing around it. I'll throw it to Tom if you don't want to say it. Is the Falcons last?
Yeah, the Falcons. I'm sorry, buddy.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you look at it,
I do.
If he could stay,
Marcus Mariota. That's exactly why they lost.
Defense.
If he can stay healthy, that's the key. For me, for the NFC South, the key word here again, it's health. You look at Tampa last year in the playoffs; they lost Kristen Wirfs going into the playoffs, and that hurt them. Brady was kind of running for his life a little bit, and this year Ryan Jensen, his All-Pro center, he's done for the year. That's a huge loss for Tampa. How are they going to be able to protect him? That'll be the key for Tampa. If he can stay upright, Robbie or Brandon, you're right. He just has that knack, and it is kind of a joy to a Michigan fan's ear to hear Ohio State fan talk about Brady being the GOAT. So hey, on a side note, but anyways, but
you get your 2 minutes.
I'm good. But with Carolina, the whole season rests on Christian McCaffrey. Is he going to be able to leg a whole year? Is he going to be able to go out of bounds when he should instead of trying to get that extra yard and gets hit hard? So when it comes to the success of Baker Mayfield, number one, he's got a chip on his shoulder. Number two, he's in the last year of a contract, so you're going to get a little extra out of him. And number three, if he's got a healthy Christian McCaffrey, that's going to only make his performance better. But I think for worst in that division, it's going to be a toss-up between the Saints and Atlanta, because really on a talent level, they're about at the bottom of the NFL next to the Bears.
I think the number 1 and number 4 are very clear, and that's the Bucks and the Falcons. I think you can interchange the Panthers and Saints in the middle. Falcons are full rebuild. Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder might be starting by week 5.
Yeah.
I mean, Ridley's coming back off a hard gambling habit. You know, who knows where this kid's at.
Isn't he still suspended?
No, he's suspended for the whole year, isn't he?
Still suspended.
He's out for
Never mind.
He's out.
Yeah,
he
didn't
have his way with a masseuse.
You got Pitts and Patterson, right?
And ask Randall about their offensive line.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the offensive line's atrocious.
Which Randall will tell you.
I wouldn't want to get into this, but the first preseason game of the year, they played the Lions.
Yeah.
And based on that game, Hutchinson will have 74 sacks this year.
I'm loving Hard Knocks, by the way.
Go ahead and write it up.
Hey, man. I love you guys, man.
Hey, but Rod,
you just got to be up and just cheerful every day. It's your Michigan boy to Detroit. I mean, that's like the best thing that can happen to you, right?
Makes Detroit look like the Bahamas, though. Hard Knocks, they do a good job.
I tell you what, the Honolulu blue and silver Kool-Aid is flowing in Detroit.
All right,
get worse.
Just in time for another 2-15 season.
Before we go to Robbie, I'm gonna throw it to you, Raj, because you're my NFL guy and my one hope here. The Falcons do have some impressive upside weapons in Patterson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. The Falcons are the largest skill people in the NFL. You talk about Pitts 6'6", London 6'5".
He's 6'4", and Edwards is 6'3".
3. I don't think we can block anybody or tackle anybody. But Robbie, you might want to note that the Falcons have pretty good skill people. Right? And then
who's gonna get them the ball? And that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, they're gonna throw it up. I mean, they still have Zacharias, right? That's how you pronounce his name. But yeah, you got London, and London is a former basketball player. Yes, I'm biased. He's amazing. He really is. He high points everything better than anybody that I've seen in a long time. But yeah, Brian Edwards was a South Carolina guy that went to the Raiders. I wasn't super huge on him, but with him, London, and Pitts, who's going to be, I went to high school with Tony Gonzalez, and that's all I really can say as a claim to fame, which is nothing because I didn't do anything. But Pitts is going to be the next Hall of Fame tight end, in my opinion. Just a guy whose body and ability to block, to do everything is going to revolutionize the position. So yes, he's
built like Calvin Johnson.
Oh, I mean, he is, and he blocks like Tyron Smith. He's phenomenal. And that was kind of my theory with, Mariota. He can get out. He's going to have to get outside the pocket because their line is so bad, and he can throw it up to those three guys, and it's kind of why they got Edwards. So they have a future, and I love AJ Terrell, the cornerback, but there's not much else there. That being said, to have London and Pitts, it's going to be attractive for any quarterback or offensive line, to come there and be there. But right now, that's aside from those four dudes with Cordero, I don't see much there at all. And I like Desmond Ridder, but they're not going to put him out there because he'll die.
Robbie, give us your first four, and then we'll move on. And I think you're marked on it, Raj. I love our rebuild plan. I love it. But as you can know, I do a Falcon show too, about once a month. And the guys on there are hating me right now because I've picked the Falcons 3-14. Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave us this topic on August the 18th. The AFC and NFC South, the two most boring divisions in football. Yeah, thanks for getting these out of the way now.
That's why he started with them. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
So, yeah, the Bucks minus 300 is the safest bet in all of sports right now because the Falcons suck, the Panthers suck, and the Saints suck. Look, so yeah, if you want to bet your $10,000 and get $3,000 back, whatever that math turns out to, do that. Because look, I like Marcus for the Falcons. I think he's gonna be pretty good. I got them number 2 in the division.
What?
Just because?
Wow. What are you drinking tonight? Because I want some.
This is why Robbie sucks at fantasy. His NFL judgment is
what are you
unparalleled.
I mean, the Panthers suck.
Who loves
too.
the Falcons will tell you you're on something more.
Look, the Panthers suck. The Saints suck.
And the Falcons suck more.
Yeah, I know. So it's just a fumble away.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm taking the Falcons number 2. Look, this division is terrible.
Have at least some defensive talent.
I cannot believe the most criminal odds that I've seen is the Saints being plus 340. If you could short a gambling thing, I would short the Saints plus 340 all day, every day. I'd bet Tom Sleeves on it.
Hey,
looks like you already lost, bro. Oh wait, that's your point.
As a Falcons fan, I wanted this show out of the way early because I know what we are, and it hurts my heart. But I'm going to answer a question, and I will say it now. Don't let me get to Christian McCaffrey in the fantasy draft because I'm taking him all.
Oh my God!
Hey, go ahead. No.
Here we go.
Conversation. Let him have it.
Well,
I agree.
Well, spoiler alert, Randall. You have pick 17.
Okay, AFC South, which to me is a 2-team division. Now, I will say something about the AFC South. I like what Jacksonville has done over this year.
I agree.
I like what Jacksonville's done.
I love their additions.
We're near contending. This is, can the Titans keep up with the Colts? That is this whole division for me. The Texans are still trash. Year 2 of their rebuild. I do think Davis Mills may be the answer at quarterback. I don't know yet. But, Tom, you're the outsider. Roger's the outsider. These two are bleed, die Titans. You break down the division, then Raj, then we'll go to Shane and Robbie to close us out for the night.
Well, I mean, you're familiar with this guy, Randall, Matt Ryan.
Oh,
I think
another. Hey, let's stop right there. He is the 31st victim of Deshaun Watson. I just want to let that know because he got molested too. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, unlike Carson Wentz, who is probably the biggest or most overrated quarterback in the NFL, he's a lot of pressure is put on Matt Ryan's shoulders. He's got the offense to make it happen. So, to me, the division weighs on him. If he can go into the situation and I don't think he has to do, spectacular. I don't think like in Atlanta it was him. I think he was about 80% of the offense. He doesn't have to be that guy in Indianapolis because he's got Jonathan Taylor back there who will probably be the number 1 pick in anyone's fantasy league. So that's number 1 for me. Tennessee.
Who's that?
Is Ryan Tannehill. He looked really bad in the playoffs last year. I don't think they got any better at the receiver position. You have Derrick Henry who literally shoulders a good percentage of their offense. So will they be able to get a 3rd year in a row of just nonstop production from him after they lost A.J. Brown? That'll be tough. I think the Titans are really going to depend on their defense to make it through. But other than that, Jacksonville, they've done well in the last couple of years. I think they've probably had the most money to spend, and they did what they had to do. They put somebody in front of Trevor Lawrence, and I look for him. I guess he can't do any worse than what he did last year. So I think now that he's not the rookie, I think maybe that'll help his cause. So. And we won't even talk about Houston because they're just a dumpster fire. So for me, it's I like the Colts in this division. If now his name is Shaquille Leonard, comes back. I know he's hurt. He just had some kind of procedure done, and he's the man in the middle there. So if he comes back and steers that defense, I like the Colts slightly over the Titans to win that division. But I could be wrong. I know Robbie was not a fan of that pick, but and of course Randall either. It's up for grabs. So
hey, I love your pick. I hate the Titans.
We need resident dummy here every time.
Yeah. No. All right, Rod, tell them the truth about the AFC South.
I'd rather not. It's a pretty gross division. No, I mean, to me, it comes down to offensive line. It always does. And the Titans are such an anomaly because when it comes to run blocking, they're excellent. And they were the number one run blocking team in the league. PFF had them up there. When it comes to pass blocking, they're bottom 5, I believe. And it doesn't do a guy like Tannehill, who's always had happy feet and who was a receiver initially. And that's another topic because those two guys get mad because I think he's awful. It doesn't do him any favors, whereas the Colts are excellent offensive line. I hate to say it, 2 Notre Dame guys and Quentin Nelson, who's probably the best overall offensive lineman, maybe aside from Trent Williams in the league, at least at guard. Ryan Kelly, and now Matt Ryan's the happiest guy in the world because he goes from Atlanta's offensive line, which actually was good a few years ago when they were in a game that we won't mention because
thank you,
Randall doesn't like to. But
wait, didn't they lose
28-3?
28-3 and they lost it?
You'll get muted.
I don't recall, but
Brady.
Robbie, y'all.
I think
Robbie,
Brady was there.
He'll be moved behind chain now. Go ahead, Raj.
But no, I just wanted to finish with the Colts have the best offensive line. They got Matty Ice. They've got maybe the receivers. I love Pittman, obviously, but their defense is easily the best in that division, in my opinion. The Michigan guy, Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner. They got Yannick from the Raiders. Now they gave up with Rockius in the corner. They are a solid team, offense and defensive lines, and that's what Saban does. Pete Carroll did years ago. I always say that because that's all I got is the past. It's the Colts division. That being said, the Titans are the Titans, and nobody is going to take them lightly. I love the Robert Woods acquisition. I'm not a huge fan of rookie receivers unless they came from LSU. But defensively, they've taken some hits as well. So, yeah, it seems like a 2-horse race. Jacksonville's doing some great things. They had a great draft again. But I agree. It's going to come down to those two teams, but it's the Colts division to lose, in my opinion. And I haven't seen the odds, but Vegas probably agrees.
I would think so. All right.
Who's probably going to ask you guys.
Brandon, you're up.
All right. Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, so obviously I'm biased here on the Titans. It is tough, though. I mean, the addition of Matt Ryan to that offense, offensive line, defense. I mean, they were just a solid all-around team last year. Carson Wentz lost it for them. It's a very mirroring image of the Titans, though, to me. The style of play, the offense, as of last year. Now, this year's going to be a lot more different with Matt Ryan. I think they're going to throw the ball a lot more. Now, I mean, there's not outside of Michael Pittman, I mean, Mo Alley Cox, maybe. I know Matt Ryan loves his tight ends. I'm not a huge fan of that guy. Outside of that, I mean, you got Parrish Campbell. He hasn't really produced, can't stay healthy.
Wait, where did he go to school?
Well, you know that. The Ohio State. And then you got Kiki Coty from just signed him from Texans, I guess, which At least he made it out of that dumpster fire. He's got some speed, but he also can't stay healthy. So offensively, throwing the ball, which Matt Ryan loves to do, I don't see a ton of options there. So I think they're going to have to change that up a little bit.
Are your receivers better? Your pause just told me everything.
So I think
you had AJ Brown. Yeah.
I think they have a better number one. I think we have a better couple of number twos.
I agree with
you. You know what I mean? So I think Robert Woods doesn't drop many balls at all. Like, this dude can catch anything.
That could be
now he's not as physical as AJ. He's not as physical as AJ Brown. But he can catch. He completely different guy. And the addition of Austin Hooper at tight end is a huge upgrade from what we had last year. Tannehill will rely on the tight end as well.
Austin
so
Hooper
I think that gives
used in Cleveland. I give you that.
Wycheck was there. Is Wycheck still playing or no?
Yeah, he had a lot of concussions.
He was offsides, by the way.
Yeah, he was not offsides. Music City offside. Miracle, baby.
That was a bust.
No, I mean, it's obviously coin flip. I think they're very close. It's a close race, and I'm biased, so I'm going Titans. I do love what the Jags did. Christian Kirk, huge sign. Evan Ingram, tight end, another big sign. And I think Travis Etienne is going to have a fantastic year this year.
When safe drivers say for not answering their phone while driving, they feel like a big.
That's me again, my stupid computers.
And then let's just listen to this.
Got no sleeves on, no sleeves.
Listen to this quarterback room for the Texans. Kyle Allen, Davis Mills, and Jeff Driscoll. How do you feel about that on Sunday?
Better than I feel. All right, Robbie. You got 5 minutes to tell us how you're going to win the fantasy league and how the Titans squeak the division out.
All right, so let's kill the low-hanging fruit first. Like, look, the Jags suck. The Texans suck. The Jags may have some kind of potential, but they're not going to do anything. The Texans are a bottom feeder. They're hoping for Bryce Young from Alabama in a couple of years, whenever he's eligible. So it comes down to the Texans and the Titans. So the Colts and the Titans. Raj made a point, run blocking the Titans in the top 5, pass blocking in the bottom 5. Well, that just happens to coincide with what kind of offense you're running. If you give Derrick Henry the ball, he's a danger. And so, look, I think they've got 1, maybe 2 years left with Henry and Tannehill, but it's sadly looking like the same Stephen A. Eddie George situation. Titans are a really, really good team, but other teams are better. So the Colts are minus 125 to win the division. Titans are plus 170. I'll take the Titans all day, every day on that. I just think the Titans, they just own the Colts.
In Vegas, right? Sorry to hear, but you know better than anybody. Isn't that kind of like a toss-up with those types of odds?
Yes, it is a toss-up. So you always want to take the plus side of that than the negative side.
To make money.
Yeah.
Rather make money on the
plus
coin
170 is much better than minus 125.
It's all about value.
Yeah. Value investing. Like Warren Buffett says. But no, I mean, look, the Titans last year were a bona fide championship contender. Henry got hurt, and it changed everything. And so that's what you're worried about as a Titans fans. We are a running back heavy team as opposed to quarterbacks rarely get hurt. Running backs do get hurt. That's what we're worried about. We're worried about a running back getting hurt. But I don't know if Matt Ryan at 37 is going to come into a new offense, a new scheme, and light it up. I think they have some early losses that really count down the stretch. So I think the Titans win the division.
There you go. You heard it from the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Robbie Davis, the fantasy guru. Robbie, I'm gonna make a pick on this division because I haven't made one. The Colts win the division by 3 games.
You're a dummy.
No,
Matt Ryan makes the Pro Bowl in my farm.
Hey, I will bet you whatever amount of money makes you uncomfortable. I'll bet you that does not happen.
what if Derrick
That
Henry
is reckless. That is reckless speculation.
That is
I will
reckless.
second that bet.
If Derrick
so
Henry
you
gets
got-
hurt again,
Randall,
then
you got 2-to-1 bets of any amount that makes you uncomfortable. We will bet the Colts don't win it by 3 games.
This
Hey.
is not a game, though. It is regular
Yeah.
speculation, and I just reckless speculate. There you go. All right, on to Bet Your Nut, the name
I
of the
agree with you.
show. And I'm going to jump out, and I'm going to give you one that nobody's got. I'm going to give you a Bet Your Nuts that, frankly, 2 weeks ago, you would have never believed. I think it's the biggest swing in sports in the last 2 weeks. And I'm trying to get the odds right now. I think it's plus 1,400 for them to make the playoffs. But I'm going to give you, and my computer is locked. I can't get it exact. But a long shot, I want to take in Major League Baseball, the current wild card standings have, let me get the standings up. We get the wild card standings up. Here we go. A game and a half back of the wild card is currently the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm going to give you plus 1,400. Milwaukee makes the playoffs because the San Diego Padres crash down the stretch and do not even make a wild card. So roll the dice, throw some money on the Brewers to pass the Padres. Only a game and a half back right now. Boom. Randall said it. Move on. I ain't betting on the Titans. Who's next? Tom, you're always prepared, unlike these other 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
Well, I'm going to take another.
Baseball bet?
I'm with him on that.
Hey, come on. Mine was original this week at least.
I'm with him
That
on
was a
that.
good one. That was a good
No,
one.
it's good.
I'm going to
Tom's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
take
betting
another.
on NASCAR as much as money he's made on NASCAR this month.
You just expecting the Soto trade to backfire on the Padres down the stretch?
No, Matt
Is that-
Machado got suspended for the rest of the year this week.
Tatis.
Yeah.
Machado did too?
No, not
No,
Machado.
Tatis.
Oh.
Tatis. Sorry.
Yeah, they were counting on him. He's done.
I hate Machado so bad. I wished it was him.
There we go.
All right,
there
go
we go, Randall. You're getting sued now, breaking false news.
That's
Manny
I mean,
Machado,
he'll be suspended
Sue me.
soon. for
Hey.
being a-
When has fake news ever got anybody sued? Come on.
Hey,
Brought to you by Fox News.
after all. Yeah. So,
come on, let it fly, Tom.
So I'm gonna, I'm gonna take another swing at NASCAR here.
Oh,
So method is probably not the smartest, not the safest, but I do it. Whatever. So I go back to the last 5 races at this track, Watkins Glen, and who has won more races at this track than any other driver, and that is Chase Elliott. He's won 2 of the last 5 to go along with Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson. So based on that philosophy, which worked 2 weeks ago, I should have followed up with Harvick last week, but I didn't. Chase Elliott sitting at plus 450 to win this race. He actually is the favorite. And based upon his previous performances, I'm going to take Chase Elliott plus 450 to win at Watkins Glen this Sunday at 3 o'clock on USA Network.
I would like to make the point that was well researched and common sense and well explained, unlike I've heard NASCAR recently. So that's like the comment.
Thank you, Randall.
Brandon Chang, you are up next. I'm gonna let you go last.
Oh, I'm gonna dip into the NFL preseason.
Woo!
We love NFL started, so preseason's tough, but I like this one. I really do. And it's unexpected. It's this Saturday at noon. It pains me to say, but I'm going to take the Detroit Lions -3 over the Colts. It's going to happen. You're going to see this Colts team not really be there for much, kind of a practice run through, and I think the over-under's 30.5 or 31, something like that. So I like the Detroit Lions -3.
I tell you, man, I really like that pick, man, for this team, man.
Yeah, that a baby camel.
Not so fast. Back to the Colts wide receivers. Alec Piercy. By the end of the year, you'll know him on a first-name basis as a Titans fan. Rod's Meta, go ahead.
Where you come from, Tennessee?
No, from Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a 6'4" white guy. Of course, he can't play wide receiver. Go ahead, Rod.
But he's good. So I'm going to futures again with win totals, and I'm going to go with Pittsburgh under. It's 8.5. I know they return a lot in the trenches, and I understand I'm making myself appear hypocritical, but I just don't think you can replace a first-round draft pick at quarterback and the Biletnikoff winner. And I don't think Narduzzi's that great of a coach. He's a whining guy, to say the least. But
from Michigan State.
Under. I think they have 14 to 15 starters at return. But, at Virginia Tech, I think Tennessee beats them. And that's going to be probably one of my bet your nuts, even though you guys are going to be all over that as loyal, i.e., subjective Tennessee fans. But, West Virginia is going to be a bigger battle than people think. Tennessee, Virginia Tech, at Louisville, at North Carolina. Syracuse actually returns a lot. Miami, not the toughest schedule in the world because it's the ACC, but 9 games is asking a lot of anyone, let alone a team that lost 2 first-round NFL guys. So the Pitt under is my bet your nuts this week.
I like that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I bring you NASCAR Davis style. Robbie Davis.
Look, so there are several times where you have wild cards in this sport and you have a wild open field. Rarely do you have the best driver in the best car on his track, all set up in one.
There you go.
So Tom has been paying attention, and Tom is correct. Look, you got Chase Elliott at 5-1 tonight. Look, put your $100 on it. Put your $1,000 on it. He's the best driver. It's his track, his team. This is set up for him to win. This is free money, man. The favorite is going to win. Chase Elliott is going to win this weekend.
Did Robbie just steal Tom's pick?
No, yes, we're watching. Look, Kyle
I think
Larson.
they both Googled the same thing.
Y'all know how much I love Kyle Larson.
Round.
Kyle Larson's 9-1. Chase is 5-1. Chase is the pick. Bet on Chase this weekend, the 9 car, and get free money.
All that means is if you're going to bet 50, now you got to bet 100 because both of them picked it. So,
Georgia.
Hey, I'll put $1,000 on it. I'll put my money where my mouth is.
Please.
Chain, I need to borrow $1,000.
Please do. I may want to race them.
Yeah. All right, guys. Big weekend on the home front. Tom, I wish you were with us this weekend for Boys Day.
That'd be awesome.
Boat riding and fantasy drafting. My first round pick will be Christian McCaffrey, because nobody else will take him, and I will win the league.
Oh, yeah. Wait. Any of our watchers, if they want to donate to my fantasy fee, I'll give some interest, probably, maybe.
What?
He's a great attorney, folks.
Hey, QB1, it's time to go.
Right there, yeah. Dude.
No,
Throw your money out.
We did this show in 90 minutes. We're running long now doing the closing segment, but we did this show in 90 minutes. It was a great show. We just get better with Mr. Tom. Thank you for joining the cast. I enjoy having you. I'm going to let it go. I don't have any final words other than Friday night on 93.3, your boy, year 31, Sequatchie County Indian football on WSDQ, the country roads. We played defending state champion South Pittsburgh in their home opener. Should be a good night. We're kicking off around 7 o'clock. Man, it's just nice to have real football back this weekend in the state of Tennessee. Tom, we'll go in order. Tom, Brandon, Raj, Robbie.
My last words tonight is the NFL is – I think they dropped the ball when it comes to suspensions. And I understand Calvin Ridley's suspension was before the collective bargaining or whatever. But to say that what Deshaun did was lesser than Calvin Ridley for basically taking part what I think we all do, going on an app, one of which is backed by the NFL, and I just think saying that him being suspended for an entire year is worse than Deshaun Watson. I think it's wrong, and the NFL should evaluate that suspension and maybe look into reducing that at some point. I'm surprised Ridley hasn't applied for a grievance on that, but I just think I think they dropped the ball. They had an opportunity to really slam this home, and they lost out. And shame on the NFL. They'll succeed, obviously, because they're the king. But I think when it comes to suspensions, they fumbled. Pardon the pun.
To your point, when you mess with the NFL and money, you see how strict the punishment is. When they need to sweep something under the rug and they want their ratings and star players out there, they play like they're being hard, and it just doesn't happen. So yeah, I think we can all see through that, some of us true fans. But anyway, on a higher note, man, I'm looking forward to this weekend. Got a very jam-packed Saturday. I'm hoping to make it by 3 when it starts. Fantasy football draft. It's going to be good. And, yeah, man, NFL football's back. Go ahead, Raj.
I believe that we're down to 9 days for the first college football game, which is kind of funny. The first game, like, no matter how much it sucks, we all watch it. At least us and those that are tuning into this show. So
Thursday night, Tennessee at Ball State at Tennessee. Thursday, September the 1st.
But I think the first game is 9 days away, I believe. Now, like I said, I don't even care what it is this early in the season. Come November, you couldn't pay me to watch it, but right now we are so starved for anything football that I believe. And I Googled 9 days. I don't even know what the game is, but I'll watch it. And that proves the point that Tom, Brandon, and I made, that doesn't matter where it is. If I want to watch football, I'm going to find it.
Exactly.
Vanderbilt opens up at Hawaii sometime next week.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, should we go to Hawaii and watch it? Can't miss Vandy, right?
Hey, I can't wait to get a budget when we're on the road. My final words, my final takeaways are just as normal. Look, the SEC, the Big Ten are fighting. You know who's winning is the NFL. The NFL has contracts all these companies. And they're going to sit there and be like, all right, y'all figure it out. And then whatever billions y'all pay for this product, we're sitting here and you're going to pay twice for our product. And it's just over and over and over again, the NFL wins. The NFL has Fox, CBS, and ESPN all in their pockets. And so they're going to sit there and be like, yeah, whatever you're paying for these college kids, yeah, if it's $7 billion over 7 years, $1 billion a year, it's going to be $5 billion a year for us. And the NFL just always wins.
Not to mention, DirecTV loses the Sunday ticket after this season. So that's going to be a big.
Yes, Amazon, Apple, Google, they're all in that play.
Stick at DirecTV. Tom has it too. I saw the app on his computer.
I forgot about DirecTV.
It's the worst.
That's why I have it.
I think tomorrow morning we may wake up to a surprise that we have broken 150,000 fans coming to our site, but we'll find out tomorrow morning. But we're currently at 100.
Smash the like, subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Subscribe and like,
subscribe.
Smash it. Smash it.
Smash it.
Like, subscribe. We need your help. And
if you want to text Chain directly, here's his cell phone number.
Yeah, you may. If you'll send $100 into reckless speculation, you'll get a phone call from Brandon Chain.
I will personally call you. I will personally call you.
Thank you. All right, and we're down to the last couple of weeks before football, so it's a great time of the year. We got some goals to get out. 1,000. Get Tom some sleeves. Get Robbie and Brandon some realistic outlook on the Tennessee Titans. And Rod, we've got to get you to understand that the South, when it comes to football, we got nothing else. Those facts are just basic.
Mom and I are going to make a bunch of people a lot of money on NASCAR.
And Robbie is stealing Tom's picks now after a few weeks on. Not even watching.
Robbie was the NASCAR guru. Now he's copycatting Tom. Like, what is happening?
No.
Tom is like, I've never seen NASCAR in my life, but now he's making picks, and Robbie's like, that's it, baby. Let's ride with Tom. Let's go.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have sleeves on. I'm like, if he doesn't have sleeves, then he must know what he's doing.
I told you he's a good attorney. You don't reinvent the wheel. He knows what he's doing.
You go, oh, that made sense. Good night. God bless. And I'm winning the fantasy league.
No, you're not.
That's so